The City of Burlington did enact a new official plan, and from a real estate perspective, this puts growth where we want to see growth, and it also helps to protect the themes that our community members said were most important to them.
I'm Maud Léger, and this is the Realtors Conspiracy Podcast, where we crack the code to real estate success. Learn from top realtors, entrepreneurs, innovators about how to grow your business. Subscribe to our podcast, Realtors Conspiracy, today. This week is a completely different episode again, as we hear from Lisa Kearns, our downtown councillor at the City of Burlington. Lisa sees the resiliency and courage of our residents and businesses day to day. She is extremely proud of our city. We discuss strategic plan efforts, intensifications, and development plan for our city, and why Burlington is such a great place to live, work, and play. So let's get to my chat with Lisa. Lisa, welcome on the podcast. We did an episode last year in March, on March 13th, like just a few days before the pandemic, and then held on to the episode thinking we were gonna post it and later, and it just became so irrelevant so quick with the pandemic. Tell us about your background and why you became a councillor for our city.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I mean, Burlington's a pretty amazing place to live. So being a counselor really is a true honor. And I take this role very seriously every single day. And I never lose sight of how important it is to be representing the people that live here in this great city. It kind of came to me by the community's voice. So I was working in medical diagnostics, which has been a really busy field right now in the thick of the pandemic. And I heard from our community calling out for representation. My seat had been vacated by the mayor, now Marianne Mead Ward. And so the community looked out to see who they wanted to represent them. And I put my name in the hat, and the rest, I guess, is history at this point now.
Yeah. Last year, we talked about so many things, so many initiatives from the city. And then a couple of days later, everything, we were in lockdown. So tell us, now that we're coming out of a lockdown again this week, what are you looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to returning to the faces and the places that we love. You know, I know that real estate is really important in our community and the way that our city grows and the way that our city develops. But really, when you peel it back, it's the people who make our community so wonderful. So we've seen so much compassion and resiliency from folks in the thick of this pandemic. And I just want to get back to, you know, when we can enjoy the things that make it feel like home.
Yeah. You have a huge positive view on everything. Like, what would you say did you learn during this pandemic?
Well, I learned how much we really appreciate our community. So with a lot of the stay-at-home orders or restrictions on travel, a lot of folks fell back in love with what was already right underneath their nose. So we leaned into nature so much more. We leaned into our community connections, and we found great value in the things that, you know, happened to already be around us in the first place. So I know the waterfront really is a jewel in Burlington's crown, and we saw how much people looked to that for helping their mental health and for finding some reprieve in these hard times. And a lot of folks just, you know, really fell back in love with their hometown.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's just so true. We see it. I see it every day on a walk and see how people are. How do you support, or how's the city supporting our businesses right now?
So the most important thing for me is that when we're able to look back on this pandemic in retrospect, and you know, we have returned to what will be a normalish life, it's really important that I know that our city has done absolutely everything possible to ensure our small, medium, and even large businesses thrive. So the City of Burlington has pretty much done everything that we can do. So we don't have the greatest latitude and powers. We look to our partners at the provincial and the federal level for most of the heavy lifting when it comes to the situation that we find ourselves in. But our city has been incredible advocates, from advocating at the city and regional level for equity amongst commercial spaces, for helping out our patios and our restaurants, for changing along those municipal parking assets to make it easier for folks to get in and out. We saw a huge shift into 20-minute parking. We've waived parking fees. We've brought on board, I would say, one of the most amazing things, which is our Safe Restart grants to our businesses to help them pay for PPE or any modifications that they had to make. And then we've also brought, as recently as last week, advocacy to those upper levels of government for continuing that safe restart, as well as our digital main streets. So a lot of our businesses are shifting and complementing their business into online to help them get through this and into recovery. And so we're advocating for additional funding or to continue funding so that they can leverage both the bricks and mortar with their online presence and to help them get back to a place of stability.
Yeah, which is amazing. We all, like, all entrepreneurs need that right now. A lot of our
Absolutely.
listeners are entrepreneurs and also realtors. What would you say drives the work on intensification for Burlington?
So we've done a couple of really big policy shifts, and we are still undertaking a few others, which the main one that's still underway is shifting of the urban growth center or major transit station area boundary to wholly encompass more of the areas around the GO station instead of the downtown. So that work is underway. New policies came in through the interim control bylaw that are more focused around zoning, and those are making their way through some additional challenges that they're facing in order to be implemented. Those sit at the tribunal right now provincially. And then the City of Burlington did enact a new official plan. And from a real estate perspective, this puts growth where we want to see growth, and it also helps to protect the themes that our community members said were most important to them, which is access to the water, heritage, maintaining that small town feel, that charm. And so those policies will help direct growth where we want to see growth and help us preserve the areas that we heard from our community are really important to maintain.
Yeah. What is, to you personally, one key factor that you love about our downtown?
Oh gosh, one factor, I love everything about it. I live it and I breathe it. And now with our new dog from Burlington Animal Services during the pandemic, we now get more foot traffic into the downtown than I ever imagined. I really just love the energy that is an ebb and flow. So I love the quiet times when you're connecting with community members. And I love the times when our festivals bring us that vibrancy and that excitement that's so unique to our waterfront and to our downtown community. So it's so much that I know a lot of us are missing, but we'll get back there.
Yeah, that's amazing. And if you were talking to a real estate agent that just came to Burlington or has a client in Burlington but doesn't know much about Burlington, how would you describe our city?
Oh gosh, well, first I would think all of our neighborhoods are so great. So I wouldn't say you'd find yourself in a bad neighborhood anywhere. Everywhere is very, very safe. It's one of the safest communities in all of Canada. Our community members are compassionate and caring and take great pride in their properties and their homes. And you'll be remiss to walk down any of our streets without getting a hello from anyone who's either on the same or opposite side of the street. More often now, opposite side of the street, but you'll be remiss to ever not have a hello. So we're close to so many incredible amenities. We are sandwiched between the waterfront and the escarpment, so we couldn't be more perfect.
Yeah, cool. In the strategic plan that we talked about last year, there was a focus on growth. So how have things changed, or how's the growth plan going?
The growth plan is going how we heard our community voice what was important to them. So we're looking to put development in the right place and at the right scale. So we have a number of intensification nodes or neighborhood nodes throughout the city that will look to be redeveloped and bring some fresh life into those areas. And we'll also be looking to really focus on how we can leverage growth around our GO stations, because we want people to use the most environmentally sustainable method of transportation to get in and out to where they want to be if they can't live, work, and play right here in Burlington. So new opportunities are on the horizon, but most certainly with an appetite for making sure that they fit within the community vision.
Nice, very cool. And what is most rewarding for you as a councillor?
You know, just hearing how much people truly, truly love Burlington. I think when I look back at every moment I've spent, I've heard most often people say, I chose Burlington, I wanted to live in Burlington. I always knew Burlington was where I wanted to raise a family or start a business or age in place. And to see people living that opportunity of what they had really set out to make part of their life's journey is just such a privilege and such a gift to hear that so frequently.
Nice. That's amazing. That's so true. Your term will end, I guess, in 2022. What are you looking forward to between now and 2022?
Just shaking a hand, just saying hello, having a coffee inside somewhere.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we have great visions for our city to carry out, environmental visions, transit visions, those growth visions, and those community building visions. So I think there's a lot more to achieve before 2022. And even though the pandemic has really set some of those work plans off course, they have most certainly, you know, we're making headway. We have all been working flat out at the city. Every single person at the city and at the region has been working absolutely flat out to continue to advance those work plans. So the work of the city continues, and we'll see those great rewards as our community comes back together again once we walk out of this pandemic.
Yeah, very cool. What's one initiative that you're most passionate about right now?
Oh gosh, I feel like it's just a culmination of everything. So lately I've been really involved in our food security networks, our pandemic response, sitting on the mayor's COVID task force. I sit on Joe Brant Hospital, so I see our community care there, as well as we have that pandemic response unit, the first one opened in the province. So really seeing the way our collaborative pandemic response has gone has been quite the incredible opportunity. So I'm looking to see that through when we get to the light at the end of the tunnel, and all the while still continuing to engage in those community building activities. So, bringing that great quality of life to all of our residents is really my focus for the next, remainder of the term. So now that we've got the development piece settled and we've achieved our new official plan, which was a huge part of the mandate, I'm really looking to build out those community strengths.
That's amazing. Very glad to hear. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Was there anything else you wanted to mention?
Not at all. That was quite the great interview. And just, again, I just want to express my gratitude, and just whoever is watching this podcast, I'm really mindful of, how you're doing and where you are in this pandemic. I know that we're not all in the same boat, but we're all in the same storm. And just thankful for the compassion and the resiliency across our community. So, and thanks for bringing this to people. This is a great opportunity and a great platform. So really appreciate having me today.
Thank you so much.